So I'm going to take up this topic of nicca, dukkha, anatta, or this Anitya and Anatman. So anyway, I don't know why Ashutosh couldn't join, but let me cover so that if he would hear, so at least he'll understand what it is. So the meaning of anicca. Before we go into that, we need to understand from Anatta. So the important sutta which we have to experience is Anattalakhanasutta. So Lakkhana is a characteristics and Anatta is what should be known as not Atta. Okay, so that is in Sanyukta Nikaya 22.59, I think so. Let me check. Yes, it is 22.59. Now, this happens to be the second desana of Buddha after he started the Dhammacakkappavattana So, after telling his friends, the 5 friends whom he had, about what is Dhamma and how you can get into the Dhammachakku. Okay, that is, it is wrongly translated again as wisdom eye, but it is not of wisdom eye. It is the Dhammacakkappavattana is about understanding what is Dhamma, not Dhamma as objects, but Dhamma as the nature of things. So Chakku is eyes, and unfortunately they put it as wheel, turning the wheel. It's not about even turning the wheel. It's Dhammacakkappavattana. So now when you have a wisdom eye, you start rolling onto the Dhamma. So in one way, it looks correct that Chakkapavattana means rotating the wheel. But the deeper sense of that is when somebody is penetrates into the Dhamma. Hello, Anushat Tervan Sarnai.
Tiruvan Saranai Vilasji.
Yeah, glad that you joined. It's good. So, so the Dhammacakkappavattana, if we were to take it, it is about the Dhamma, I, which then helps you to roll on to the Dhamma till you become an Arhat. So that's the meaning of Dhammacakkappavattana, not about turning the wheel of Dhamma or turning the wheel of wisdom or something like that. So in English, since there is a lot of words which cannot be put in a proper way, this we need to have this clarity on what is that Buddha is trying to say. When he says, I'm meeting my 5 friends in Isipatana and I'm giving them this knowledge, this information, or this wisdom, if we were to use that. At that time, none of them has any wisdom. So it is in 2 parts. First part is what is dukkha, what is dukkha satcha, what is dukkha samudaya satcha, and what is dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. This 4 into 3, that is 12. So if you look at the Dhammacakkappavattana, you have these 12. And when Kondanya got the wisdom eye, or basically he understood the nature of things, immediately the sutta which he referred to, or which he introduced to those 5 friends of him, is Anattalakhanasutta. The first thing we need to understand is what is Anatta. It can be called as Anitya, it can be called as Anatman, or it can be called as whatever it can be called as, but That's only the word. But are we feeling that it is no soul? That is the question. If yes, then it is having a distortion. If no, then it's fine. So when we hear this Anatman, what does it trigger? That there is no soul, or there is no being, or there is no this. But Buddha never talks of a absolute being and absolute non-being. There's nothing called as in absolute sense that this exists and this doesn't exist. If that happens, then just like Aggivacha Sutta, which talks about 10 kinds of questions. The first question is Sasattava Loko. The second question is Asattava Loko. The third question is Antava Loko. The fourth question is Anantava Loko. The fifth question is what happens to Tathagata? Tathagata Parammarana, what happens to him? Or does he not exist after Parammarana? Then does he exist and not exist at this after Parammarana? Or he also exists, neither we can say he is existing nor we can say not existing after his death. So the six of them are in terms of the loka, and the four of them in terms of trying to categorically put in two buckets. One, satta, being there, that means it's eternal. So he goes into an eternal place where he will not return. Or he gets extinguished as annihilationist. So when we take this Anatta as Anatman, what are we trying to do is to give it an absolute flavor that the person doesn't exist, which is at a high level looks correct. But is that your experience? Is that what you really experience? That there is no Atma? This is the question we need to ask ourselves. So instead of getting into speculation or an argument, which used to happen during Buddha time with these 10 kinds of questions, 6 of them on the loka and 4 of them on the Atma, it's better to understand what Buddha says, not what I say. What Buddha says in the Anattalakhanasutta. So when you have an Atma, whatever I call as myself, this is myself, not about no soul. I have a feeling of myself, whatever that self we can identify. Who am I? If I were to investigate, I get ultimately in the sense that at the 8th jhana or at Turiya state, I get into a state where I don't exist, but yet the I exist. And that in Vedanta is called as a big I, and the ego is treated as a small I. So you dissolve the small I inside the big I. Fair. But that's not what Buddha is talking about. So how does he solve this kind of riddle, which has been there during Buddha or before Buddha, during Buddha and after Buddha? That question has remained in every sentient being, especially since we're talking about human being, it's there inside each one of us that I exist. Okay, subtle I, or the big I, or whatever that I is. And that I will only go at Arhat. That mana is going to go only at Arhat. That means the measurement is from that I, not the small I. That person has left the small I with Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, understanding, and he has become a Sotapanna. Fantastic. But that subtle I, exist. So first we need to know this. So what Buddha did in the Anattalakkhana is to slowly break that barrier. Meaning, when Kondanya got into the Sotapatti Phala, and when Buddha came to know that he has got into Sotapatti Phala, he wanted to use Kondanya as the first person who could penetrate into Dhamma so that the remaining people can penetrate by asking them this question. Now, what's the question there? The question there is, can you direct anything at all in terms of whatever you're experiencing as Rupa? Can you direct, oh, you know what? Today is Thursday. I don't want to see these kind of people. I want to see only these kind of people. I want to have this kind of experience. That is feeling. I don't want to have this kind of feeling. I don't want to perceive these kind of things. I want to perceive only these kind of things. And I want to do something for experiencing it. So I will do a mental volition, or I can say choices, or I can say it's preparations, or whatever the name we can give about sankhara. So I want to do something. That doing something is sankhara. So I want to do something in a way that I get what I want. Can I really do that? Is it a possibility? And can I, using the consciousness, get that experience which I want right now? So let's say I want to experience a jhana as I speak, get into turiya immediately. So my question now is, can I get into turiya right now? Meaning I direct and I'm turiya. And after turiya, I feel, you know what, I need to get out of the body. Okay, fantastic. Now you get out of the body. And okay, I want to meet Ari and sit with him and chat. Can I do that right now? No. So when this answer is no for all the 5 aggregates, now how can I then say that I'm in control of everything? I'm not only in control, I can choose. I can say this is what I want and this is what I don't want. So this choiceless observation is what I can have. That means the only thing is possible right now is to observe whatever is happening rather than getting into knowing that I want this to happen. So if you were to read through the sutta, or I will read through the sutta for you, it says very clearly, in English, I'll read whatever Sujato has written. For if form were self, it wouldn't lead to affliction, and you would compel form. May the form be like this, may it not be like that. Okay. It's not about what I'm trying to do. It's about the nature of the form, not about me. It's about the form. So I can't direct the form to behave in a particular way. Can I direct it? Hey, Aryu, I don't like your hair. So why don't you remove the hair and come today? And tomorrow I say, Aryu, yesterday I saw you without hair. So today I want you to have hairs. And neither Aryu can do anything nor I can do anything. Yes, Aryu, go ahead.
But if someone has developed siddhis, they can direct something. Does that mean they will be more difficult for them to see this fact that they cannot direct things?
No, it is conditioned. So now the second thing is about conditionality. So the siddhis or the psychic powers, yes, you can develop, but you have to develop. That means you have to do something about it, and it doesn't stay with you. And Like in the case of Moggallana, okay, the typical example we can take. Mahamoggallana was able to go to all the realms of existence, talk to all the Brahmas and this god and that god, and even to an extent that he could shake the Vaijayanti palace built by Sakka or Indra, and it shook him. And he asked this question to Indra: "At what did the Buddha teach you, for which you came to talk to the Buddha?" And totally embarrassed, Indra told to the Moggallana that ye Dhamma nalam abhinivesaya is what I learned from the Buddha. And he says, sadhu, 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 you have understood. But why? Why a person of a stature of Mahamoggallana could not help himself to be beaten up so badly that due to the injury he dies? Right? He could have directed the form, which he's been doing. He could have directed the feeling. He could have directed the perception. He could have directed the sankharas, and he could have directed the vinyan. But the fuel ran out. He couldn't do. In a state of tremendously bleeding, he prostrates to Buddha and dies. Okay, this is about Mahamoggallana. Let's take Sariputta, the most best person in Dhamma, other than Buddha, who could explain the concept at ease. He developed severe diarrhea and he died of diarrhea. He couldn't do anything. Yes.
Yeah, I guess in these examples, like especially in Buddha's case, he gave up his life faculty, right? I mean, which means if he wanted to, he could have kept it for longer. I don't know exactly about Moggallana, but I heard that maybe I get the impression that it's that he knew that it's going to happen, but he decided not to do anything about it. Is there that aspect also, or?
Yes, he does. So he can see the being, but then since they all are arhats, he doesn't care much about it. As regard to Sambuddha, the advantage of a Sambuddha is that they have the ability to extend life and do whatever they want to do with it. But it's extension. It's extension. So that means you can't come out of it, meaning you can't change the nature. So like today, we have medical facility. So you can make the person stay with oxygen cylinder or with ventilators. You can make the person continue his life with medicines, which might not be there earlier. We have the CT scan, we have MRI scan, we have so many things. So you can stop the tumor from growing. You can cut the tumor. You can burn the tumor. You can do whatever you want to do. So that extends life. Right? It extends life. But can he direct, I should not be getting this? It's condition oriented. So the difference between the Buddha Dhamma and the others is that in Buddha Dhamma there is a cause and effect. That's the reason Buddha Dhamma is called as law of causality. That's the law of causality. For everything there is a cause and there's a result. But one thing people miss, they only take the cause and the effect. They miss the conditions. It's not only cause and effect. Even in the Brahminical tradition, you have the cause and you have the effect. In some tradition believe only in the cause, and some tradition believe in the effect. And Hetu Phala is something what is known to all sect at that point in time, whether it is a Brahminical sect or some other sect, or in Sanskrit called as Parivrajaka, or In Pali, paribhajaka. What it means is that in English is recluse. And there are naked ascetics. Like in India, you are still today, you have the Naga sadhus who are naked ascetics. And they have this. They know cause and effect. If you go and talk to a Naga sadhu, he will explain you beautifully. To an extent, you will get convinced. Yeah, what he's saying is right. It's absolutely true. So now you get puzzled up. Oh, he knows what Buddha talks about. Minusing the conditionality. So the only difference which Buddha made, if at all we were to talk about paticca samutpada, is a dependent origination which is a conditionality. So there's some condition which is going inside that, and hence you see the cause and effect happening. If you remove the condition, it looks like you have random causes. So, like in the Choiceless sutta, a person will get into three opinions. The first opinion is that he will say creator is doing it, and the second he will say that due to karma it is happening, and the third way is random, because he doesn't understand conditionalities. So, as long as the condition persists, and so long you can stay in a particular state. So that means if the condition for Mahamoggallana was that he could use psychic powers and go wherever he wanted, he was able to do it. Till the time Buddha was able to really look at the condition and develop that jhana, wherein he can extend his life, he was able to do it. But when he asked Ananda many times, Ananda doesn't reply. So what Buddha infers from there is that the condition is ended. So he ends it, saying that, okay, now I'm going to give off my Jivit Indriya. And then Ananda feels, oh, I shouldn't have done this. He says that, look, once done is done. There's nothing like you go back and pick it up from the tree. Hey, please give it to me. I am, my disciple, by mistake, by oversight, he did this. Hey, why don't you give it? No, that's not going to happen. That means the condition is changed. So the Buddha Dhamma is about conditionality, not about an elusive behavior of only the cause and not the effect, or only the effect and not the cause, or sometime causes and sometime effect. I'll give you an example. In India, especially, 90+% or even more than that, I don't know about Sri Lanka, but majority of the Asiatic population, that is this place with Sri Lanka also being added, believe that if something is happening as per their wish, they credit themselves that I did it. But when it doesn't work, they blame it on karma. Oh, it's my bad karma, and that this happened. I lost the job because of bad karma, bad deed in the past. Maybe I've done in the past. Why? Even the good thing what you got is due to karma. No. It is my effort. That's my effort. How did you put your effort? I can put my effort. And that feeling that I can put effort is atta. And that's the root of the problem. It's not about whether Anatta means Anatman. It's got nothing to do with the language. You can call it as Tintin, for example, or something I want to call. It doesn't matter. It's not about the language you're using to define. It is about how you experience it. I can do it. That I, which is feeling it can do it, is in 5 types. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. At the deepest level, I'm not talking about the Sotapatti Phala stage. I'm talking about beyond that. Including myself, in whatever level I am in, there is still this feeling of I am able to go into the 8th jhana. I have this feeling. Why? Because I can perceive it is 8th jhana, as simple as that. So as long as the perception and feeling is going to be there, the I is going to be there. The moment the perception and feeling is gone, I is also gone. Which I? The subtle I. And that feeling which comes out in a very subtle way, that I exist all the time. I'm watching. We are purifying and purifying and purifying. You'll come to what state? You'll come to the observer state. Fine. But you are observing. That means there is you to observe. Otherwise, what is there to observe? You have that inside you, not the English you, or in Canadian you, or Sri Lankan you, or in Indian you, or whatever. It's just I or mine inside. And that feeling has to be cut in 3 stages. The first stage is to let go of the upadi. Upadi means to produce, to develop, and create a possession of it. Whatever you produce, you will have a possessive nature. If you produce a wife through marriage, you will get a possession. If you go to an office and you get a designation, you get that possession. You take a house or you buy a house and then you get the title of that house, that property is in your name. So you take the possession. You take a vehicle and you get it registered and then you get the possession. You buy a computer and it comes in your name, the shipping address, the billing address. You possess. This possession is what will go in the first stage, which is Sakatagami. Because now it doesn't possess. There's nothing to possess. The Rupa is not possessed, nor I am possessing the Rupa. The feeling is not possessed, nor I am feeling the Rupa. Feeling the possession of the Rupa. The feeling is not possessing me, nor I am possessing the feeling. I am not possessing the perception, nor the possession is being possessed. The sankharas are not possessing me, nor I am possessing the sankharas. The vijnana is not possessing me, nor I am possessing the vijnana. If this much clarity I get, then I become a once returner. Yes, Ashutosh.
Sir, I want to say that myself is made of a non-self element, correct?
Myself is
Whatever
made
I
up of
perceive,
what?
non-self element like Prithvi, Tejo, Apo, and Vayu,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So all these elements have his own property.
Correct.
Like in Mool Paccayasutta, Buddha said that a bhikkhu see Prithvi as a Prithvi and Apo as a Apo and water as a water. Correct. So in that case, I cannot claim that this is myself. I'm just watching the 5 elements.
Right. Correct. So, what is your question?
So can we call it anatta? This kind of perception?
Yes, as long as you don't have manyanas. If you see the Mula Paccayasutta, he goes deeper than what he is talking in the Anattalakhanasutta. It is the manyana, which is the gando, which is the sallo, like that. So that what it means is that manyana is, in a very crude sense, if I were to put it, it is called me thinking. This Prithvi inside is mine. No matter what you do with it, I don't care, but it's mine. And then the 4 elements, and then the Bhuta, then Deva, then Pajapati, then Brahma, then Abhasara, like that, each one of them. So 24 things, including Nibbana. It's not excludes Nibbana, it includes Nibbana. So what is he trying to say? Patavim patavito sanjanati. So first he perceives that this is earth. What is earth? Whatever he thinks is earth. What can you think about earth? Please remember, the quality of earth nobody can see. We might theoretically know about it. But practically, are you seeing it as hardness and softness? No. You'll see it as an object. Patavim patavi to sannitva. Patavim manyati. He considers this is earth. Patavi me iti manyati. This is how earth is formed. That is, I brought it. I started eating. Please remember this. And this beautiful body is coming. Patavim patavito, so patavim meti manyati. Patavim abhinandati. Now he delights in patavi. And then he makes it as atta of that. And that atta is so deep that you can't remove it. You can't take a soap and remove it. So for that you have to do an Anattalakkhanasutta first before we go into Mula Paccayasutta. That's a very nice sutta, but first we have to understand the Anatta. So it's not think about an absolute existence, satta, and absolute non-existence, asatta. Sat and asat. And in the Kaccayana Gutta Sutta, Buddha talks, Kaccayana, this world is held upon two views. Either they say it exists or they say it doesn't exist. Yes, Sachin.
So can I say that until I am arhat, I exist?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the reason mana is the last thing to go.
Yeah. Or what you are saying is right now true also for me, that I should not get involved into existence and not existence. I may exist, I may not exist. As if I do like that, it is Mahayana, right? Right now I exist because I am not arhat.
Yes, so what happens here is that it's right. You will get to a stage of neither existence nor non-existence, which is neva sanya na sanya. Please understand this perception. This perception itself is a problem. Like if you have a dog, the dog what is perceives about a human being, that is the owner of that, is totally different than the person who is considering the dog. They both are not the same. And hence there is a problem. If dog were to perceive the human being in the same way and a human were to be perceived the dog in the same way, if a cat were to perceive the human in the same way and a human were to perceive the cat in the same way, a spider in the same way, or an ant in the same way, or bacteria in the same way, or all living beings in the same way, and the Deva were to consider the same perception for humans, same perception for the lower beings, this problem wouldn't have been there. And because the perception varies not only by the classes of the beings, but within the being itself. So when I stand in front of the mirror, I don't see it as Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Akasa. I perceive it as Vilas. No matter how much I can go and cry, I am not Vilas, I am not Vilas. But what the perception says, you are indeed Vilas. Worst case, what you will get? You will get to a stage that you are not Vilas, but you are there, right?
Or I may say this is Patvi, Apo, Tejo, Dhatu.
Yes.
But somewhere
inside that I is there.
Saying,
Yes.
Yeah, without saying,
Yes.
I feel I exist.
Yes, you feel because you perceive. So this cycle, 1 second, Aryu, this cycle of getting into the perception into feeling feeling into the perception is what has to be cut. So either you cut at feeling or you cut at perception. And both require phassa. So what Buddha did is, it's a futile attempt to cut the feeling without perceiving it. That means if something is, while I'm sitting and meditating, something is scratching here, no matter how much you say it is anicca, it is anicca, it is, aren't you perceiving that? You're suppressing it. That is okay. You're literally getting into concentration. No, it's not about concentration. It's about observation. It's not concentration. Now, when I concentrate, what happens? In my mind, this remains. This scratching feeling remains. So I'm sitting. I'm in this class. So I need to just watch. Okay, sir, I'm watching. Now, by the time I go up, go down, and again come up, that is gone. So I think that is anicca. No. It's not anicca what you have understood. That feeling no longer is there. So I feel that I have picked up. No. Feeling has a perception to the core, and the perception has the feeling to its core. It feeds onto itself. So without understanding phassa, you cannot do anything. And that's the reason in many suttas Buddha says, phussa iti phassa. If you don't understand phussa, you have lost the plot. Yes, there is a contact. You need to cut that contact. So chakuncha paticca rupecha upajjati chakku vinyanam tinna sangati phasso. That has to be disconnected. Because that will bring in Vedana. It's not the other way around, that Vedana is bringing me phassa. No. So what he says? Phassa samudayo, Vedana samudayo. Phassa nirodho, Vedana nirodho. Phassa samudayo, sanya samudayo. Phassa nirodho, sanya nirodho. Phassa samudayo, sankhara samudayo. Phassa nirodho, sankhara nirodho. If I take one side of it and leave the other, it's not going to work. So when I say anatta, it's not just the feeling of anatta, it is the perceiving of anatta, as important as the feeling. I might let go of the rupa. Fine, after a while I've understood, just like the Vedantins talks about. What does he say? I understood this is clay and this is pot. I know that pot, as long as the clay exists, so the pot remains. A meditator now gives up the pot. But my dear friend, what did you do with the clay? You are holding on to the clay. And hence they only enter into the turiya, or the eighth state of the mind. Which is fair. But the feeling and perception is still there. And what does Buddha do? He says, Sanya Vedaita Nirodha. And then the Atta is gone. Yes, Aryo, sorry, I've been holding your hand. Wait, Sachin, let me give him the opportunity.
So like Raman Maharshi says, who am I practice? Can we invent a different practice? For example, that whether I exist or not, if I keep asking that question until I feel I exist, so as long as, so I mean that way I can go subtle to the point where I realize that I don't exist. Can it be possible theoretically?
Theoretically, everything is possible, Sachin. we are working on practical. Theoretically, it looks so nice. Yeah, if I read Vedantic books, you really get convinced. Yeah, this is correct. Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. Absolutely true. So, in the Jivi Jagat Ishvara, in fact, that is covered in that Aggivacha Sutta. The Vedantic way of looking at it. At that time, it's not called as Vedanta. It was called as Purva Mimamsa. And in the Buddha time, they were called as mimamsa, and even Buddha uses mimamsa. What is mimamsa? Investigator. You just investigate. So there are two mimamsa. Purva mimamsa, that is from the past, and the one new, which is Vedanta. So Vedanta came later. So what we are talking, the people who come over there and talk to Buddha, is Purva Mimamsa. Okay, and in real term, Mimamsa is to investigate, and they are the beautiful investigators. If you read Mimamsa, you will understand what it is. All Upanishads are Mimamsa. The Veda Anga is the Mimamsa, which is Upanishad. So if I read the Veda, I can't understand. So the Mimamsa, they investigated the reality. How do you define reality? That's their quest. So every person who came and met Buddha were asking this question: in your dispensation, what do you mean by reality? In our dispensation, this is what is said. In your dispensation, what do you think is reality? So in the end, they all merge. Meaning, if you take Ramana Maharshi, Ramkrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda, you can take any person. They all merge into the eighth jhana, the Turiya state, because that is demonstratable. Why? You have a perception of it. So, Buddha is not a, what I can say, somebody who didn't understand this. When Uddalaka Maharshi, the first ever Maharshi to master and teach thousands of his followers.
Okay, so what you are saying is that any practice of investigation will maximum lead you to 8 jhana only.
Exactly.
Beyond that, you cannot investigate.
Exactly. There is one sutta, a very funny sutta. It's a very small sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, where they say, etan santan, etan panitan, yadidam, neva sanya na sanyayatana. Neva sanya na sanyayatana iti gando, iti sallo. But they say this is the highest we can reach. Why? Because it is asankheya. See, you have to see it in a very proper perspective. What are we talking about? A human life is 100 years or maximum 125 years at the current state, not the 80,000 years with what humans started. Now it is 100, and let us say you are very lucky, like the Japanese who can lead their life beyond 108, 110, 112. The maximum you can lead as a human is 125. Your body will break down after 125. That's a max. Not that you can't stay after 125. You can. Or you have to develop an ability called as kaya kalpa, like the Babaji, who can give up his body and take another body and exist, and then he drops that body and put another body and then drop that body and another body. That is also possible. That means you can create, but all that takes where? Neva sanya. He doesn't have the perception of how it was earlier. Na sanya. He can't say, I don't have the perception at all. And with perception comes the feeling. With feeling comes the perception. Yam vedeti tam sanjanati. Yam sanjanati tam vitakketi. See, now you see this link. So when we talk about Anatta, it's got nothing to do with Anatman. We are not talking about an absolute Atma and absolute Anatma. There's nothing like that in the Buddha teaching. In entire sutta, you will never find a mention where Buddha takes a stand that I don't believe in Atma or I believe in Atma. So in the Jivi Jagadishvara, yes, Ashutosh.
Sir, in that case, we think that one day we all are going to die. Then who will die? Because the five elements is not going to die.
Yes. So this is how the after the Mahayana started, the Shunyatavada got shot out from India because they couldn't answer this question. If everything you say is an element and everything you say is a phenomena, everything you say is just a Dhamma, then who is that person who is experiencing it? Shunya cannot experience Shunya because it's already Shunya. That is, voidness cannot experience its own voidness because it's already void. So who experienced what then? And they couldn't answer. Simple. Why they couldn't answer? Nobody can answer because that link what Buddha was talking is lost. Yes, Aryu, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a curiosity when you say previously you get into this just observer state, right? When you're just observing. Is it the same thing where in the, I think Yogacara is they talk about seventh vijnana? Is that the manas? Is that the same thing?
Yes. Okay. So each one got split up in different categories. So, and the Yogacara way of doing it is what Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, he took it to China. So he spent 12 years with Vasubandhu, a most noted rishi at that time, who was the dean of Nalanda University. Okay, and the way he has explained Yogacara or Yogachara is amazing. Nobody can match that kind of explanation about the reality. So before Bhaktiar Khilji arrived in India and destroyed the Nalanda University, it had reached China. So it became Chinese agamas because Vasubandhu sent few of his disciples into China, and the Tang dynasty were the first people to take them, give them a complete, what we can say, the place, and they built a monastery, and they were doing a lot of things. So then it merged. So the Sanskrit got translated into Chinese. And from the Sanskrit literature, it also went into Tibet, because the Tibetan kings came to know through marriage with one of the Chinese lady who married a Tibetan, and she brought these agamas into Tibet, and they were perplexed. So what they did is they had born religion. So they added the Chinese agamas, which were then modified to take the form of the deities, which then is what is called a tantra. So the tantra is a method. So the Hindu tantra, that is the Brahminical Shaivism way of doing it, which is called as Shiva Tantra in the Kashmir. It moved itself into Kashmir, so it became Kashmir Shaivism, and from Kashmir Shaivism it went into Tibet. So that this portion plus the born religion plus the Chinese agamas added together is Vajrayana. So it is like first getting into a pond which is already dirty. Then you jump into it, which makes it even more dirty. That means now you can't see anything. So except for the Buddha teaching, which is exactly taken from the Chinese and translated into Tibet, other two are fabricated. So it becomes very thought-provoking. So coming back to the subject, is that when Shankaracharya started questioning, if everything you say is this is unreal, this is unreal, this is unreal, this is unreal, but there should be some experiencer, right, to say that there is unreal. And they were stunned. Yes, what he says is right. There is an experience. That means to say what? You are perceiving it then. If you're perceiving it, then means what are you trying to talk about? You're saying that full liberation. No. You're saying void, but it's filled with your self.
Yeah, even that's what I was also pointing to when I said, as long as I am Arhat, I exist, and as long as I exist, I will birth and die and decay.
So what Mahayana did then is that they built it one level lower, saying that, look, forget all about this, right? Forget all about this. Let's practice to get into the Shuddha Vasa. We don't have any problem with Shuddha Vasa. Do you have any problem with the Shuddha Vasa? No. So then they created this concept of Amitabha Buddha, that he is ever compassionate, because you can't see, this problem is like this. You can't imagine a state of neva sanya na sanyayatana. Also, it's not an easy thing. It's not that, okay, I go to a pastry shop and order for a pastry, and then I eat and say, this is salty, this is sweet, and this is pastry. No. You will not taste anything, but yet taste everything. And that's a perplexing state of the mind. So they said, forget all about this. What we will do is, we will go with Anatman theory. The best thing, right? It's easy. There's no Atma. Agreed. Then you land up into Shuddha Vasa, which is called a pure land. So in the Chinese, they added the Prajna Paramita Sutra, also called Diamond Sutra, which then tells you how to work towards Shuddha Vasa. So then the description of the Shuddha Vasa is given just like in every religion, they give how the heaven looks. So you start perceiving heaven, because now you feel heaven. Now when I say I'm in Sukha, who is in Sukha? Ask this question. Who is in Sukha? Are you in Sukha? Yes. Done. Over. Granted. No, I'm not in Sukha. Then you're in Dukkha. No, sir, it is neither Sukha nor Dukkha. That means you're in neutral. You see this questioning. That means I want an absolute answer to this, whether this exists or this doesn't exist. So, Kachayana Gotta Sutta, in that Buddha says, Kachayana, these people are mad. They keep on fighting. They only fight two extremes. They either fight for existence or they fight for non-existence. If somebody were to use their eyes and seriously see there is no absolute existence, they can see it going down. And when they see it is going down, there's no absolute going down, it is going up also.
Even now we are doing that way only.
Yes. Yes, Ashutosh, go ahead.
Sir, when I was doing a 10-day Vipassana course, in one of the discourses, Guru Asan Guruji said, when we are watching the sensation and we have to break to the atomic level, to the level of kalapas. Correct? And when we break the kalapa, then a state will come where you will experience no arising and no passing away. And that state is the real state. It will never change. Is it correct?
Yes, partially correct from what Buddha Gosa says, but it's not completely correct. There
So
is,
then in
yes,
So in that case, we are discussing about anatta. So there is a self, or then when we break the kalapa, what we are experiencing. In
there
that
is nothing called as breaking the kalapa. And that is where I am telling you that problem with Buddha Gosha.
But what I think that when we do vipassana, that's all.
That's what you've been told. See, now you are expecting that you will see the kalapas. Now, first of all, like Naveen was asking me yesterday, since he heard that previous video, so he's asking me does Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Akasa exist in the kalapas? And what's the difference between Shuddhashtaka and Kalapa? You see the perception problem. I want an absolute answer, sir. I need an absolute answer. What's the difference between Kalapa and this? Yes, Ashutosh.
One more thing, and let me add you one more thing. Like Guruji said that in the Kalapa, in one single Kalapa, all the elements are there. Like in the Vedanta, the concept of Panchikaran, all the elements are made of like
Pattakalapa, he said. Pattakalapa.
Attakalapa.
4 plus 4.
4 plus 4. See,
no.
see, I'll tell you what the problem. I'll tell you. We make things too complicated because we want to show that it's very difficult to achieve. First thing we do on spirituality is it's something it will take you a lifetime to achieve. So first you have to put that way of thinking. It's not easy. As though everything else is easy. As though eating is easy, sleeping is easy, brushing is easy, washing your body is easy, going to office is easy, going to school is easy, everything is easy. Only this is difficult. They don't realize that the same effort is there here. It's not different. As soon as you're born, you're going to the school. Like, Aryu's son, Luke, he's going to the school. Why he should go to school? Is that easy? He's learning. He will have a test. He has to pass the test. He has to do all of that. It's not that is pretty easy. This is very simple. Earning for living is not easy, and not this. So first and foremost, what we do in life is to show that this is a very difficult thing. And when you make it difficult, there is an accomplishment. If it is very easy, there's nothing to accomplish, right? What is it to accomplish? If somebody says that Sotapanna is very easy, you just listen to something and over, and nobody's interested. First, you have to build up that story. You know what? Sotapanna is not an easy thing to do. It's tremendously difficult. How is it? How? You have to break into atomic. I see. Atomic. Have you seen an atom? Yes. When you go into the
interesting. That is so interesting.
Yes. So when you go into the jhana, you will see it breaking away. And once it breaks, you will come to know. Sir, have you seen it breaking? I'm also trying, but I've been told. So it is a blind following the blind, and this is exactly the question what Buddha puts to each and every Brahmin who comes and meets him, saying that Brahmin are Shrestha Varna. Setta Varna is Shrestha Varna. Shrestha means best. Varna is color. And they are from the mouth of the Brahma. And that's what we learn. What do you think, sir? And Buddha says, excuse me, I've seen Brahmin woman also menstruating. What do you have to say for that? And I've also seen the Brahmin woman giving birth in the same way what any other woman would give. What do you have to say to that? And I've also seen Brahmin woman giving breastfeeding to the child, not Brahma coming and giving the milk. That same woman is putting her breast to the child. Why? And they are perplexed. They say, we consider it to be so. Manyana. And Buddha says, that's not true. Wait for a second, Aryu. So in Buddha Dhamma, please understand, it's for me as well as for you, that there is not even a smallest portion to imagine. No imagination. Atomic is imagination. You imagine. Yeah. I think now I see. Okay. The first kalapa is broken. Which kalapa? Patavi. How did it break? And you see this contradiction. If Patavi breaks, then what happens? Will it become Apo then? And what does Rahulavada Sutta says? He says, Patavi na manni, and also he says, Atita, Anagata, Pachuppanna, Ajjatta, Bahidda, Polarika, Sukuma. Now the Sukuma, right? Where is Sukuma Rupa? Where is Sukuma Patavi? It's not there. Now where this concept of Atta Kalapa comes? For what reason? And it is Shuddhashtaka. Yes, there is a reference of Shuddhashtaka. Absolutely agreeable. No doubt. It is correct. So it is, he says, Mahabhuta Upadaya Rupa. The derived from the Mahabhuta is what it is. So if you really see, if you have Patavi, you have color. What is there to imagine? It has a color. It has a black color or a white color or a green color or yellow color. Or so your skin is made out of Patavi. Do you imagine? Oh, it is in black color. No. If it is whatever color, you give that name. Oh, this is a brown color. And if I see Shreyas, I say he is Dubbanna, dark color. So Suvanna is fair. Dubvanna, there's only two colors what Buddha talks about. Suvanna, Dubvanna. Su is good, Du is bad. That is, it's not about saying, oh, fair color people are the best people. No. So don't have to take it that way. It is about saying, how do you identify? How do you perceive? The perception here is that when you see something, it has a color. It has a color. It's not that you are creating any color out of it. So by saying Shuddhashtaka, to be calling as kalapa, what you're trying to say is that you have an ability to break, which is going against Anattalakhanasutta. Yes, Aryu.
But are you saying these people who are teaching these things at the Paak Center, like the head monk hasn't experienced exactly what he's teaching, or?
I don't have to go with that kind of an argument that they might have understood, they might have not experienced. That is beyond the point. Even if they're experiencing, it is dukkha. I'm going by exactly what is there in the sutta. I'm not going by anything. So if I have an ability to break the kalapa, let's take it that way, am I not going against the Anattalakhanasutta? That means there is Atta. If there is Atta, then I have all ability, right? I can do whatever I want. Now why I should struggle so much in life? It's not about anicca. That will come later. That's a very far away. First, let's sort out on Anatta. And that's the reason Buddha never spoke about anicca till they were clear on Anatta. Because anicca is a totally deep information. I don't call it concept. It's a deep experience. It's an experiential reality of anicca, and hence the sanya becomes anicca sanya. Without understanding anatta, there is no way anybody can really understand anicca, no matter how much you say anicca, 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 and call it as anitya bodha. It's not going to work. I'm not saying that is wrong or right or whatever. You have to go back into the sutta and see how to see it. Then it works. Once you have penetrated, it works. No problem. Then you call whatever you want to call that as. You call it as impermanent, you call it as permanent, you call it as stable, unstable, or whatever you want to give the names to it. It doesn't have any problem. Yes, Aryu.
If anicca is so difficult to penetrate, then why, let's say, in the Anicca Sutta or something, he said, Yada nicca tan dukkhan, yad dukkhan tad.
Correct.
I mean,
now that is correct. That is after a person has gone through the Anattalakhanasutta. I am giving you the proof itself. See, in the Anattalakhanasutta, in the end, he talks about anicca. He first talks anatta. Then he talks about dukkha. And the section on anicca is so small. If you want, you open that up and see for yourself. You open that up 22.59, SN 22.59, and see it for yourself. The explanation what he gives on anatta is far profound than the explanation what he gives for anicca. He could have started Anityallakkhanasutta. And that's the second sutta. Please remember, even though it is in Sanyukta Nikaya, after Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta, you can, this is the only sutta where you can see those 5 ascetics sitting in front of the Buddha. After that, no other sutta talks about it. because after that they go away, they understand.
So it's like a wisdom, right? Yeah. If your wisdom is gross, first you understand anatta. But
Correct.
when your wisdom is sharp, technically yad anityam tad dukkham, technically yad dukkham tad anattam, that is correct.
Yes.
But first hold on to anatta, then subtler, then subtler, then subtler. Finally, only anicca is important.
Yes. What leaves inside the bucket is anicca.
Oh, lasting first out.
What remains in the bucket, whatever you call that as a bucket, right? Whatever it is, the end. And that's the reason what he says in every sutta after ending, he says anicca. Why? You see any jhana, including Maharahulavada Sutta, PT he has experienced, Pasiddhi he has experienced. Just before Vimokha, he says anicca. There he doesn't talk about anything about anatta. Why? It is already covered where Pakavi, he says that eto esam eso na mama eso na aham asmi eso me atta. Now where is this atta? Atta is from Sotapanna stage. Okay, understood. That means I have already made the ditti that there is no atta. That is correct. But the total itself, eradication of the atta, will go in arhat. So that sutta, Maharahulavada Sutta, MN 62, covers all the 4 stages. Sotapanna, that is after Sotapanna, the 3 stages. Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhat. So, Anatta is already stated. In the first few of it, it's Anatta. And where is the explanation like this on Anicca? No, because what remains is Anicca Sanya. So why he should explain that? When you don't have Atta, you will see Anicca. When you have Anicca, how will you see Anatta now?
Yeah, that makes very point.
You can't. From the lower, you can see the higher. No, from the higher, you can see the lower. So when Atta itself is not there and you holding this is Atta, isn't that a struggle, a pain, an arrow, a boil? Isn't that manyana? Then is considering it, feeling it, stating it, and making it as yours. Isn't it wrong?
Yeah, in other words, we can say that one who is practicing anicca only is actually holding on to anatta very firmly.
Yes.
Sorry, atta very firmly, because he is seeing everything anicca, but then he cannot see himself anicca.
Exactly. So what happens is when I sit in meditation for 1 hour, I am telling in my mind, oh, this pain is anicca, 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 but the pain doesn't go away. I am just suppressing it. I am not considering it. I am not doing something with that. So I am struggling, right? Am I not struggling? Buddha Dhamma is not struggle. So first thing we need to understand is why you should give suffering over suffering. Meaning already it is a suffering. And now I bring in a different suffering, saying that, you know what? To remove that suffering, put this suffering. No. It is relief from suffering, not putting some other kind of suffering. The Buddha Dhamma is about understanding it in a sense which tells you what is right and what is wrong. That is, you stick on to this paticca samutpada. That's it. Don't go beyond patisamutpada. Just stick on to patisamutpada. If this is there, this is there. Iti imasmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam uppajjati. Simple. For that, what's the formula? If rupa has to be there, ahara samudayo, rupa samudayo. For that, do you want to make it atomic? You just go, take food, observe it. This food going here, will cover up everything. Isn't it true? What's atomic there? Where is the kalapa? What kalapa are you going to break? No. Do you feel atta there? Yes, it's my food. That means you have to work it out. Can you make the food in the way you want it? No. Can you eat and presume that how this food is now getting digested? I will digest in this way. I will digest in that way. I will not go to the toilet today. I will go after a few weeks. No, I will go right away. I want to urinate now. I don't want to urinate in my life at all. I don't want to feel hungry. Can you do that? No. That means wherever you say atta, it's anatta. Nothing to do with Atman. What Atman? It's just about seeing it. Can you condition it the way you want? Answer is no. If you try conditioning it, what happens? You will have dukkha. These two, if I understand, then I get to the third one, wherein it is choiceless. It's not as per your choice. You can't choose. It's not about free will or not free will. That is separate. We'll take it up next. But it's about choiceless observation. Just an observation. And seeing the conditionality. This exists. So this exists. If this doesn't exist, this has no independent existence. So this will also go away. And hence 2 reeds as an example. You take out one reed, the whole reed will fall. So if ahara is not there, the rupa is not there. If the phassa is not there, the vedana is not there. Not that a vedana will remain irrespective of your phassa. So now I have found the path for freedom of what? Of seeing things as they are and not as they are presented. So it is presented as this body, but it is made out of 5 elements, which is anatta. The beard is not my making. It grows, it decays, it dies. It becomes white. This whole black thing in next few years, if I see my previous videos, it is pitch black. After a few years, you will be seeing it as pitch white or gray. That's it. If I take this beard or the mustache to be mine, am I not the fool? Because I am considering it's atta. The feeling of atta is because of the perception of the beard and this mustache. So, Sanya Vedayita Nirodha is a stage when you totally dismantle the 5 aggregates out of existence. So it doesn't catch anywhere. The consciousness now doesn't have any place to catch. Then you experience Vinyanam, Anidasanam, Anantam, Sabbato, Pabam. For yourself. Yourself, who is that self? Now the question comes, somebody is there. And you get into that. Instead of getting into that argument, what Buddha said is, even this is conditioned. So don't hold on to that also. And in the Shunyata Sutta, he exactly says that. If somebody is smart enough, he will pick it up. That even that will have the 5 senses and Jivita Indriya. Dropping it off. That means in the Vedanta way, you drop off not the pot, even the clay. Then only the Vijnana will not be found by Mara. Now it is extinguished. So then there is no coming, there is no going. Why? The Shuddhashtaka are not held by consciousness. So the Vishuddhi Magga, which talks about kalapa, to saying that you have to break it, that is right, not in this atomic way, but removing from your mind using the sutta of Maharahulavad, sutta.
Actually, he's not saying to break the Ashtakalapa, just to correct it. Possible. What he's saying is, the more subtler you become, the more and more subtler you become, you will see that Ashtakalapa is the unbreakable thing. Below it, you cannot go. That's what.
I got it. So when you break,
Correct.
when you dissolve, break, or whatever you want to say, if the Pathavi breaks or you are able to penetrate into Pathavi, correct?
No. He's not even talking about Apo, Patvi, Teja, Dhatu. What he said is all five. See, in your body, first thing is there is no going outside, right? This practice is on the body. So in your body, here, you may be here, you may be here, you may be here. Wherever you are, become so much subtler, so much sharp, so much subtler that you become there atomic.
Got it. I understand. So each of the Shuddhashtaka has the 5 or the 4 elements already there in each of the kalapas. So then you break it.
Yeah, it's like you have started seeing atoms or electron, proton, like that.
Right. So, but that atomic theory is not there in Buddha Dhamma. So what? Yes. Okay, Aryu. See you. Bye-bye. So then, Ashutosh, yes, you raised the hand. Go ahead.
Sir, as we are discussing about kalapa, and in Vedanta they have they have the concept of panchikaran.
Yes, Panchikaran is there.
Panchikaran,
Yes.
Panchikaran is there. So we are able to see Prithvi because Prithvi has the fire element in it. The roop is the quality of fire. We are able to perceive Prithvi as a Prithvi because of Prithvi has some fire element in it. Correct?
What Prithvi has what element in that?
Like Panchikaran, all
I got it.
Prithvi has some fire element in it. That's why we are able to see Prithvi because
Fire
Fire
is the
element.
quality of the
Okay.
fire.
I got it. I heard it as fine element. So I was wondering what. Yeah, fire element. See, in the Vedanta and the Vedanta Sara, what happens here is that it comes from the top. So Akasha develops the Vayu develops the Agni develops the Apo develops the Prithvi. To see the Prithvi, there is a fire, that is Agni. Without light, you cannot see the Prithvi. So it goes in a different way of explanation. So this Panchikaran, what we are talking about is intermingling of these 5 elements together.
Correct.
Right. Now in meditation, when you go into the Neva Sanya, Nasanya Ayatana, then you are able to discern these 5 elements completely. Prithvi as Prithvi, Apo as Apo, Tejo as Tejo, Vayu as Vayu, Akasha as Akasha. But you can't say that you have completely dropped it. So still you end up in Turiya. You got the point?
Yes.
Okay. Which was a problem during Gautama Buddha time. That they knew that there should be something beyond this because they're able to still perceive it. Unless you drop, who drops? Unless the consciousness drops the 5 grasping aggregates which has these 5 elements, there is no way the consciousness cannot come back in this existence or some other existence. So they knew this problem. And what they did? They said, Etan santan etan panitam yadidam neva sanyana sanyayatana, because this is the highest you can get into. There's no higher than this. But they say, Esa gandha, Esa mula, Esa gandha, Eta sallo, Eso rogo. That is, Holding on to it is a problem, but we don't have any other option. So they all ended in the state of 31st level of existence, which is beyond the Brahma realm or any realm known, because the four jhanas, four arupa jhanas, are higher than the lower ones. So it is asankhya. So it looks like amrita. So in the Upanishadic literature, if you practice Taittiriya Upanishad in a proper way, or Mandukya Upanishad, just take Mandukya Upanishad, U, Ma, silence. You practice that. Is waking state, Jagrata Avastha. U is the dream state, Swapna Avastha. Ma is deep sleep state. Fourth state, Turiya. Sushupti and Turiya. And Turiya is something extraordinary. Why? It cuts existence into other realms. For asankhya, or in Sanskrit, asankhyata. You can't put a number to it. Whenever it comes, it comes. And when it comes, we don't know. Not at least in a Brahma realm, you can say, oh, this much is the span of Brahma. This is beyond that. So, which is Amrita. There's no Mrita. The subtle I exists. And they know that is Gandha, that is Salla, that is Roga. And hence Buddha went back to understand there should be something than what we know. And he then arrived with understanding that it is anicca, dukkha, anatta is a lakkhana. So the first lakkhana, if I were to teach, is to teach the Anattalakkhana, which then opens up the dukkha for them. If they are able to penetrate the dukkha, then what leaves behind? Then the nicca sanya which they have turns itself into anicca sanya. It's not about the language, it's not about the translation, it's not about anything. We can call it as Anitya, we can call it as Anatman. That doesn't make any difference to anyone. It doesn't mean that one sect, they found out it is not Anicca, it is not Anitya, it is Anicca, and hence it was lost for years together, centuries together, eons together. Now we found it out. No, nothing like that. It's very simple. Is that first start with Mula Paccayasutta. That's the first sutta you need to get introduced in life. Now, after that, you understand the Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta, and you try to become one of those 5 ascetics. Then you read the Anattalakhanasutta. A bulb will glow depending upon how good is your sila. This will glow. Once it glows, you know it is glown. Like in the case of Anusha, she keeps on telling me that she used to follow one teacher online. Not online, and she also met him. So he said that practice this. Yam kinchi samudaya dhammam sabbam tam nirodha dhammam. That's all. That's your meditation subject. She was able to penetrate. And if she is able to penetrate, she is sotapanna. As simple as that. There's nothing else. There's a testimony. Oh, you should have read this sutta, you should have read that sutta. It's okay.
Even I took that approach. Like I may be in whichever jhana, I may be in whichever state, whatever my experience is. In this experience, whatever I'm experiencing is not myself, not mine. I'm practicing like that, irrespective of where I am.
Yes, yes, it works. So, if there is an argument of Anusha with somebody else, or somebody else argues with Anusha, I don't agree with it. It doesn't matter whether somebody agrees or doesn't agree. She is able to penetrate. It's about penetration into Dhamma, which makes a person sotapanna. Why? It will bring you the experiential faith in Buddha. It will bring you experiential faith in Dhamma. It will bring experiential faith in Sangha. First thing. And then you will stop breaking sila. Simple. That is Sotapanna. And there are a lot of suttas which only talk about that. And in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, he talks about mirror reflection. So Ananda, don't come and ask me every now and then what happened to this person, what happened to that person, what happened. I'll teach you how you can find out for yourself. And he talks about Sotapanna. In Buddha Dhamma, these three stages are prominently mentioned in the sutta. First stage is Sotapanna. Many suttas talk about Sotapanna. The second mention is on Anagami. No mention of Sakadagami there. And the third one is Arhat. Only three things are shown. And when you go to Sekka Sutta, it talks about all the three. The Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami. And Asekha is Arhat. So what I need to understand for myself is, am I a Sotapanna? Yes or no? No. Yes, if I am able to penetrate. No, if I am not able to penetrate. What should I penetrate? I should be able to penetrate what is happening. If I am not able to penetrate on what is happening, that means I have to practice. What should I practice? Just simple. Itipiso bhagava arham samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manussanam buddho bhagava iti. I am not able to understand. No problem. Now you understand that your sati is not good. So now you go to Jina Panjara Sutta and create Buddha in the head, Dhamma in your eyes, Sangha in your body or in the legs and limbs and everything. Now you exactly mimic what a Buddhist would have done, a Buddha follower would have done. Exactly that by looking into the sila. And look at the Duccharita Vipaka Sutta all the time. In 7 days or maximum 14 days, let's say, the wisdom will dawn in that person. And he will come to know that he has reached Sotapatti Phala. Not that he has to go and ask his teacher, excuse me, sir, can I know whether I become the Sotapanna? Just go to the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, go to that section which talks about the mirror reflection. Just see whether you have experiential faith in Buddha, experiential faith in Dhamma, experiential faith in Sangha, and your sila is intact. Yes, sir. How? Take any sutta. After that, you read twice or thrice. Bulb will start to grow. Now I see it in a different way. The same sutta when you had read earlier, you were not able to understand or penetrate. It's not about English. It's not about Pali. It's not about Sinhala. It's not about Kannada or Hindi or Tamil or whatever. It's not about that. It's about penetration. And you will penetrate. So when you know you have penetrated, you don't have to ask anyone, have I penetrated? You know you have penetrated. So in the case of Anusha, when she has penetrated yam kinchi samudaya dhammam sabbam tam nirodha dhammam, she doesn't have to give a proof of that. She knows that she has penetrated and that's it. On Sotapanna. It's not about I convince somebody that I don't think so you're a Sotapanna. If the teacher cannot understand this, that she has indeed penetrated, then it's a teacher's problem. It's not the student's problem. Why? Because when she talks to me, she says that, yes, Shreyas, bye-bye. So she says that she's able to get into this blankness. And if she's getting into blankness, it means two things. Asanna, that is asanya, that is non-perception, is one stage which happens in a Sotapanna that he cannot really discern that joining of these five aggregates. And that's a very peaceful state to be, and that brings you into Anatta. So you would have experienced Anatta, and it's such a profound experience because you are cutting out all the five aggregates. This is one. And second important way to see that blankness is that you are seeing the shunyata. There's absolutely no essence in that. That is, yam kinchi samudaya dhammam sabbam tam nirodha dhammam. You have seen the arising and passing away, and both of them have no essence in that. There's nothing like you can keep it for yourself. Oh, you know what? This is mine, or this is myself. Nothing like that. So in both these cases, a person experiences it, and when he or she experiences it, need not have gone through the formal training of this how sotapanna should be, etc., etc. She has penetrated it, or he has penetrated it. So in the case of Anusha, she would have penetrated. Now the question comes how to get into Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhat. That is a separate topic. But yes, Anusha.
Hi, Vilasji. I was listening to the discussion. I have a question though. You were talking previously about it's apart from this question, the topic that you're talking about. Is it okay if I raise that question?
Yes, go ahead.
So you were talking in the Buddha Ghosha's way of meditation, the Vipassana, the Visuddhimagga, when they have a scratch on their leg, they concentrate on it.
Right.
So, and you were also talking about what Buddha was talking about is cutting off the passa.
Correct.
So, can you please explain how that would be related to in a practical way when there is a scratch when you're on the cushion meditating, and how to cut the passa at that level when, according to Buddha's teachings, how we can overcome that? Because when you feel scratching means you have already perceived it. You have already, the passa has already happened, right?
Right.
So then how can one detach oneself during that passa which has already happened?
Yes, Sachin has an answer. So let me allow him.
I will only correct the practical part, what we are doing or what Vedanta has to. So, for example, if your body scanning, if you are here, for example, if a scratch is happening here, so in that case you are ignoring it. But in the area where you are, if a scratch is supposed to happen, or in case if the itching sensation is very strong, you can go there and concentrate. But concentration is not the practice given to us. We are not concentrating. But in case the pain is very difficult, then we drop wherever we are and focus there, concentrate. Practice is not to react, means not to scratch, and see the intention to scratch as an object. So I am feeling to scratch, but I will not scratch. And second thing is, it is not compulsory to not scratch. You may scratch, but postpone it as much as you possible. It is not that if you scratch, it will be a problem. There is no problem, but delay tactic. Don't scratch as much as possible. Observe the intention or sankhara to scratch. That is the point. Yeah.
So
Correct.
my question then is, the more when you're really doing a practical meditation, when the scratch, the moment you start observing it, it penetrates more harder. So the eye is more stronger, isn't it, Vilasji? That's what one would feel in a practical sense.
Yes, so what we will do is this is a good topic which requires at least more than an hour of discussion. So let us take it tomorrow. We'll continue this like I continued this Anitya Anatta discussion.
Okay.
So I will take
Tomorrow
this.
I won't be able to come, Vilasji.
No worries, no worries. It will be recorded. So I will, like Ashutosh question, I will take this question. It's a very appropriate question. And just a line answer if you want me to tell you, make it animitta.
Or we may be postponed till when she can come. She has practice.
Yes, or we can, if I'm not going on Monday. So Monday we can meet up.
Okay, Monday.
Monday I'm not going to the office. So Monday we can keep this and we will deal with it for sure. Okay.
Animitta, you are saying.
Animitta. So the answer to that is animitta, which is there in the sutta, but then we will say practically how it is possible. So we will take it up on Monday. Tomorrow when we meet, we'll take some other topic. Anyway, Ashutosh has a lot of questions, so we will finish all his library of questions. Is that fine, Ashutosh?
Yes, sir.
And I really like him because he has a lot of questions.
Because I read a lot, so that's why.
It's good. Hope I am able to answer to your question. Okay.
No, you are answering all my questions.
Okay.
Earlier, I was asking a lot of questions.
Yes, it ultimately comes down when you start experiencing through practice. So the concluding thing is that practice anatta lakkhana. Don't practice anicca. Practice Anattalakkhana. You will get into anicca. That's the end result of it. Yad anicham tad dukkham yad dukkham yad tad anatta, because you have understood anatta, now you are perfected. This penetration happens after sotapanna. So Buddha first talks about experiencing the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and morality, that is sila. If that is perfect, then you are in the Arya Magga, because you are a sotapanna. Now you start with anatta. Now I might ask a question. Hey, excuse me. You said that paccayasutta is gone. Yes, absolutely. That I feeling you have to remove now. The last I, which is arhat. So you keep on practicing to eliminate that. So sotapatti magga will only get you the experience of rupa anatta, vedana anatta, sanya anatta, sankhara anatta, vinyana anatta. That's all what it does. It will cut the aggregates into 5 parts instead of upadana khanda. That's all what it does. Now that you have done that, you don't have a silabatta paramasa. That means you are not doing it like a ritual and thinking that with this ritual, it's an end of it. No. And you don't have any doubt now. Why? Because you have experienced what is Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and Sila. All the 4. Now you are perfectly a sotapanna. With sotapanna, practice anatta. And that gives you the dukkha. Once you penetrate dukkha, all the 4 satya can be seen. And that gets you into the paticca samutpada. When you get into the paticca samutpanna, then you get to see, it is anitya. That is the bodha, what you get. Oh shit, I had totally missed it out. Why? Between the links, between the birth and death, that how it is moving, how the pointer is moving, how the time is moving is anitya. There is no nitya about it, not nicca. Nitya about it. There's not even one time is fixed for the body to disintegrate. And again it integrates, again disintegrate, again integrates, disintegrate, again integrate, disintegrate. So now you're saying, oh my God, this is unfair.
Yeah, so the practice that we do in a Goenka technique, what we are doing is anitya both, right? Not
Right.
anicca, and not anicca.
Not anicca. You're coming into anitya, which is part of the links. Any one of these links. So that Buddha, there's one sutta, paccayasutta, where he says, I'll teach you paticca samutpanna and paticca samutpada. There's a lot of confusion I am seeing within the bhikkhus. Let me explain to you that what is paticca samutpada and what is paticca samutpanna. So the paticca samutpanna is when you see the anitya, not anicca, it's anitya. That is the bodha, because now you get that knowledge of anitya. So it is impermanent. That is correct. Absolutely correct. Anitya is true. It is impermanent. It is impermanent. You can't say my birth was permanent. No. Then the death shouldn't be, right? If the death is permanent, then there should not be any birth. And hence arising and passing away. You got the point. So that is the experience of Anitya. And that is dukkha. Yes, by holding it Anitya as Nitya, it is dukkha only. But then in the Paticca Samutpanna, he starts with Anicca, Paticca Samutpanna, Khaya Dhamma, Vaya Dhamma, Viraga Dhamma, Nirodha Dhamma. What's the explanation for Anicca? He doesn't say. But he says two links, Paticca Samutpanna. And you will penetrate at that point Anitya.
So again, can you define Anitya versus Anitya? At the last I'm asking.
Now, this is the link. As long as birth is there, disease is going to be there.
Oh, okay, because it is dependent.
Now, inside this is Anitya. Because at no time zone it is stopping. Even if I were to sit, whether watching breath or watching this or watching that, that time is going away, right? It is not Nitya. You can't stop the time and say that time, please stop. No. Nothing you can do. That moment of time is Anitya, is impermanent. So if you are putting effort to stop the time, is dukkha. And that is Anitya. Anicca sanya is Paticca Samutpada, complete. Iti imasmim sati idam hoti, imasa uppada idam uppajati, iti imasmim asati idam na hoti, imasa nirodha idam nirujjati. That if you penetrate completely, what leaves to you is Anicca sanya.
Okay, got it. Because it is a, I cannot explain. It's a sanya.
Is changed.
Yeah.
The perception. So that is the reason.
Or we can say Anitya sanya cannot be.
Yes, you can't have Anitya sanya.
A perception of impermanence.
Yes, correct. So in anywhere in the sutta except for Sariputta, we have to literally thank him, Venerable Sariputta, to explain what is Anicca in Patisambhidda Magga Pali. That's the only document that is reliable document approved by the Buddha when he did it for a whole rainy session, which is part of the Kuddaka. A whole rainy retreat he spent on explaining the entire Dhamma, including the minute of the things. He explains what is Buddha. From there he starts. If anybody were to understand Patisambhidda Magga Pali, in that he talks about Anicca under Anapanasati Katha. And then you will penetrate Anicca. Otherwise, no. You will end up feeling that it is Anitya. It's fair ground. Not that it is wrong, not that the Ubakin technique or wherever the book is which says impermanent is wrong. No way.
It's part of it.
Yes, it's part of it. It's true that it is Anitya. It's not that it is not Anitya. And when it is Anitya, it turns Anatman. Why? What will you do with these two links? Where is the Atma here? Can you say Atma is born and Atma is dying? Atma is growing old? What stupid? No, you can't. I can't say my Atma is born today and my Atma is dying tomorrow. No, because you're seeing body is coming, but body is dying. Where is the question of Anatma? Because it is Anitya, it is Anatma. Because it is Anicca, it is Anatta. Two different things. But part of Buddha Dhamma. No fabrication by Buddha Gosa. No fabrication by anyone who has made it as Anitya. Absolutely perfect. But it's paticca samutpanna, not paticca samutpada. And that is what Buddha says, my Dhamma is not complicated, but it is not easy. In the Mahayana suttas, Ananda says that, dear sir, I am feeling so nice that I have penetrated the Patisamutpada. He says, Ananda, don't talk like this. Don't ever talk like this. My Dhamma is deep. My Dhamma is so deep that it is not easy to penetrate. It is easy, but it's not penetratable. And then Ananda says, okay, what do you say? He says, now listen to the nidana, that is origin. Mahanidana, that is the great origin. How things originate, I will teach you. So this is what we need to understand. So Anitya Anatman is correct. From which point? From Paticca Samutpanna point of view. Anitya Anitya to Anatta is correct in which point of view? Paticca Samutpada. So one who penetrates Paticca Samutpada will understand experientially Anicca through Anatta. So it's not one-to-one translation that Anicca means Anitya, Anatta means Anatman. No, that's incorrect. Because you are talking about Paticca Samutpanna, things that are dependently arisen. After arising, what is the state of that? It is indeed Anitya. And can you say, I am born, I am growing old, I am dying? That means what happens? It looks weird. So it is Anatma. Absolutely Anatma. No second doubts on that. You can't be an Atma. When you say myself is dying, that is exactly what he does in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. He says, can anybody say, or even in the Mahayana Sutta, DN 15, he says, can anybody categorically say, I am dying, I feel I am dying, I feel I am alive, I feel this, I feel that. It's just your feeling. But when this feeling is there, that feeling is not there. If you're feeling dying, you cannot have a feeling of living. If you are feeling of living, then you cannot have the feeling of dying. Why? They are not mutually inclusive. They are mutually exclusive. One is there, the other one goes away. So, this is the deep thing about Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. And the second one is Anitya, Dukkha, Anātman. It is correct from Paticca Samutpanna, but it is wrong from Paticca Samutpada. What we are in quest of experience as Buddha Dhamma is yo mam pasati, so dhammam pasati, yo dhammam pasati, so Paticca Samutpadam pasati. We are not in quest for Paticca Samutpanna. It is Paticca Samutpada. So tomorrow, Monday, we will take your question, Anusha. And tomorrow we'll take further more questions from Ashutosh or anyone. Okay, so good night and good day. And Matt, you are already post 12 o'clock. So thanks for joining and may you have a good sleep.
All right. Thank you all.
Okay, good night and good day to everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Everyone, Saranaya.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.